Yeah, Beth, Carol, or Katie Bank, or Katie, oh my goodness. Never mind. It's too early in the morning. Beth, Kate, and Chris are all sitting together there. Jackie, Carol Ann, Gerald, our contest master. You have Len up front. You have Larry back there. Marty way in the back. You got double masker. Eric. Oh my God, I'm losing my mind. Mike's way in the back with the coffee, and Sylvia is up in the front. And Dave Licata just walked in. All right. Thank you and good morning.
Morning.
Morning, everybody. Excellent. Well, today is a contest. The ability to compete, the ability to push yourself, see what you've learned, see how you can apply it. I always enjoy the contest because I like to watch how people deal with their nerves minutes before they're called up here. So the people compete in the contest, I'll be doing a little bit of crowd watching to see how you're dealing with any increasing nervousness before you come up to speak. I'd like to go ahead and call up Carol Ann for our inspiration today. Looking into the sun is awesome now. You can look right into the sun.
Well, this morning we are grateful to get together, especially on this day of the contest. And actually, we pray for safety for everyone in this weather, and also keep in mind all those unfortunate people who have been hit by natural disasters and terrible fires. And just keep them in mind today. And we're thankful. Snow can be dangerous, but it's more of an inconvenience for us, and our houses are still standing. We have a very good contest day.
Thank you very much, Carol Ann. We're going to go ahead and stand at this time, say our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. With that, I'm not going to delay the program at all. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the person who's going to be running this today from Zoom. I'm making sure I say her name right. Jen Zapla?
Jen Zapla, yeah, that's my name. Thank you, Thomas.
This is Zappa.
All right, welcome everyone to our virtual / in-person, so that makes it a hybrid contest. Our contest is going to be a little bit different today because we haven't done it necessarily hybrid before, I don't believe. At least this is my first time attending a hybrid contest. So welcome everyone. I've put our agenda in the chat, and I believe there should be one in person as well. We are going to have a couple of role holders today. I know Carol Ann already started us off with our inspiration. We are also going to have a word master. So is our word master Sylvia there to give us the word of the day? Sylvia, we can't hear you on Zoom. Appreciate if you could use the mic.
Nice try.
I tried. Destitute. Yes, destitute. Discontinue from use. It's a noun. And as a sentence, there's an example. Although the law is still on the books, but due to being destitute, the law enforcement doesn't enforce.
Thank you, Sylvia. And I think I know why the word destitute is no longer in use. It's a hard one to say. I'm also going to introduce our master today, Mike Licata. Mike, can you tell us what you will be doing today?
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. My job as the master this morning will be to count the ahs, ums, pregnant pauses, and the other filler words. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Licata. Now, just to clarify for everyone, for our contestants today, they will not be held to our standard table topics rule of using the word of the day for this contest in order to qualify. So judges, although it's great if they use them, please don't use that as any criteria in your judging. Now, that being said, I would like to start our contest today. I will first give you our order of contestant appearance for our international contest. We'll be starting with the international contest. And our first contestant today, if you would like to mark it down, it should also be in order on the agenda, but in the event that you don't have one, is Eric Schneider. Our second contestant today will be Kate Orr. And our third contestant today will be Larry Mckenzie. So all of our judges are able to mark their ballots ahead of time. Now, in order to get started, we want to make sure that we do run a fair contest. So all of our contestants have been briefed and they will all be appearing in person today instead of on Zoom. For those of you who are in person, please make sure that you have turned off cell phones or anything else that makes noise. And we would ask you to avoid entering or leaving the room or doing anything that would be distracting to our contestants. We'll also ask you not to take any photographs during the contest. This meeting is being recorded, so contestants, so that you are aware, by competing today, you are agreeing to be videotaped. Now, the only other thing I will mention is for anyone on Zoom, please make sure that you leave yourself on mute during the contest and avoid distractions. If you do need to get up, please turn off your cameras as well in order to not distract our contestants. As the contest chair, I have already briefed all of the contestants, and I believe that we are ready to proceed from that perspective. Mr. Chief Judge, have all of the contest officials been briefed, and are we ready to proceed in person?
Madam Contest Master, the judges have been briefed both online and also in person. Back to you, Contest Master.
Thank you. And for our judges, there will be a minute of silence in between each contestant for you to mark your ballots. Now, Mr. Timer, Mr. Chief Timer, I would ask you if you are prepared to proceed.
I am, Madam Contest Master. I'm assuming, since the Chief Judge has conditioned everyone that they know where the timing lights will appear and what the timing is for, in this case, the international speech.
The contestants should be aware that the international speech will be a 5 to 7 minute speech. Can I get a thumbs up on the timing light in the room? All right, I got a thumbs up. So I think we are all set there. And I would also ask you to signal a minute of silence for me in between each of the contestants, Mr. Timing Master.
Will there, excuse me, will there be, I'm prepared to put the timing card, the green, yellow, red card up on the screen also. Is there also a timing light in the room?
There is a timing light in the room, and I believe that we have a procedure in place. Yep, I'm getting a thumbs up there. So we do have a procedure in place that they will be mimicking your timing in person as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now, are there any other questions before we proceed with the contest? All right, excellent. Now I will begin by introducing each contestant by their name and the title of their speech, and then I will repeat the title and their name. Will the first contestant please proceed to the staging area? For subsequent contestants, I'll ask them to proceed to that area during the minute of silence, and all contestants are allowed to remain in the room during this contest. I've already asked for questions, so with that, I will begin by introducing our first speaker, Eric Schneider. My years as a 5K cross-country runner. My years as a 5K cross-country runner, Eric Schneider.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Eric. I'm going to take you back down memory lane of my very first 5K run. May 20th, 2005. Beautiful, warm, late spring morning. My parents took me to my first ever 5K, which was the new famed Apple Blossom 5K down in where the gazebo is down on Main Street. And I will tell you this was the first time I ever done a 5K, which means I had to lay off the snacks, the fast foods, and go out and just run. So I ran for 3 miles and I ended up with a time of 25 minutes and 1 second. That is not bad for a first timer running in a 5K race. Now we fast forward now to July of 2005, just ended 6th grade, no, yeah, 6th grade. And I decided to join the cross country team with one of the best coaches, Bob Eberhardt, because he was my mentor in how to be a good runner. And I will tell you this, I was a very nervous person because, you know, as you can see, I'm very shy. And you all laugh now, but this was 2005 we're talking about here. I met Mr. Eberhardt, Mr. May, who was also a former running coach, but now he was here as an assistant coach. And I was starting to feel more comfortable in running with the team. There was so much rigorous challenges I had to face, which was the selection classification test, which had me do a mile around the building. The other one was doing long jumps, which that really hurt me because not only I failed it not once, but twice, I ended up being as a modified runner. Plus, I was also the team manager, which was lucking out the equipment and everything. But then as time went on, when I got into 9th grade, I ended up on the junior varsity. So that means I didn't have to take the selection classification test. So in my years of running, I was like, all right, I got to push myself, push myself. But before we did that, we did some dynamics in the beginning of running before we started practice. So we ended up doing like high knees, you got to go up like this. You got to really put your legs up. And trust me, I don't have long legs, so that really didn't matter as much. But hey, you know, it's the beginning of a running season. I don't care. First, you got to do butt kicks. Then you do karaoke. Yes, there is a thing called karaoke. You have to go like this and lift your legs up. And then you got to do the same way going back. And then lunges, trust me, if you go lunge, there's a great chance I will be falling down. But during all my years of running, I've gone to places I've never been to. I've been to Rochester. That was one of the big races we did called the McQuaid Invitational. A lot of schools from different counties all across the state competing. And the best part of it was we go out to dinner afterwards. I will go like to Subway, grab myself a meatball sub, and I devour that thing so much. I was like, oh, heaven. Junior and senior year was the best part of cross country. I actually made it to the top 7 to go to Manhattan to run in Van Cortlandt Park. Now, mind you, I don't know what I was in for. This park, if everybody has been to Van Cortlandt Park, I don't know if anybody on Zoom has been to Van Cortlandt Park, but this park was very, very hilly, very, very hilly. And I was like, oh boy, you have to look up and down because it's like staircases. You gotta watch your footing. But it was the best part of running cross country was being in Manhattan. And I ran at a time of 15 minutes and 32 seconds. That was actually the time that I had the next year in my senior year. So imagine that. But in all my years of running, I credit my family and the cross country team, and also my lovely awards right here to prove it. I haven't been running in a while because due to the pandemic, but I'm going to get back more into running to focus on mental health, and looking forward to more and more of cross country memories as I continue my running career. And this year will mark 17 years of me running overall. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Timer, may I please have 1 minute of silence? Will you indicate to me with a green light when we have reached 1 minute? Thank you, Mr. Moran. Our next contestant, Kate Orr, golden rule for the future. Golden rule for the future, Kate Orr.
The golden rule, it's the principle of treating others like you'd expect to be treated. It's found in almost all religions and cultures. In fact, it dates as far back as Confucius in China, and it's in almost all religious texts worldwide. Well, how about another saying? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. And ain't that the truth? Because the golden rule has good intentions. But follow me here. Although it may seem to be a caring way of living, it can likewise be self-centered. And I'm hardly the first to think this. It blossomed in my mind in about 2005, and then I come to find out, famous philosophers for hundreds of years have thought it's a bit more self-centered, and they criticized aspects of the golden rule. But most importantly for that one, how would you know how others want to be treated? And the short answer is you don't. Unless you do make it your business to find out. The so-called platinum rule is now the golden rule of the future. Some call it the diamond rule. The platinum rule calls for a more thoughtful approach when dealing with others, and it asks that you do unto others as they would expect done to them. And this platinum rule is a game changer. So lots of self-help gurus have claimed to take credit for it. Like I said, I mean, I came up with it back in 2005. I even called it the platinum rule because what would be better than gold but platinum? But as far as I can tell, it was back in the 1970s. When you look back at research in the 1970s, a communications paper was written by Milton Bennett called Overcoming the Golden Rule with Sympathy and Empathy. And the platinum rule is rooted in empathy. Now, why does this matter now more than ever? Well, because people have different values. There's a lot of different beliefs. There's a lot of different upbringings, different sets of standards all around the world. David Kerpen wrote about this in The Art of People, and he spoke about how the golden rule misses its mark. Sure, it's great. It's a splendid concept, except everyone is different. The truth is, in many cases, you don't even know what your own spouse or partner or kids or boss wants, let alone people you don't even know, maybe across town, across the state, across the world. So to make it clear, Kerpen offers a story, and he said, personally, I am very fond of strawberries and cream. But when I go fishing, I don't put strawberries and cream on the hook. The fish want worms and grasshoppers. It's simplistic, but this is what the essence of the platinum rule is all about. It can be simple as this. Show your hands, and I expect to see everyone to raise their hands. Who has picked up a cup of coffee or a cup of tea for a friend, a coworker, a family member at a local coffee shop? Pretty much all of us. Now, if you love your coffee extra sweet, no cream, do you bring it like that for everybody else at the office? Probably not, or you won't have a lot of friends unless you know that's what they like. You ask them what they want, and they say, I want a double-double, I want a black, blah, blah, blah. Or you bring it all black and mixings and let them make it themselves. You're already following the platinum rule, right? So the intentions of the golden rule are good, but it's not good enough. As the world's population and diversity increases and we are squeezed together on our tiny planet and we see each other on Zoom and in person, we just don't know what others want. How can we be expected to know? Well, we just don't assume. We ask, we listen, and we believe them when they tell us, I like my coffee black. Oh no, you like a triple. That's not the way to make friends. So before I conclude, I'll bring up a possible scenario that you can practice the platinum rule. And we all may encounter this. So you're at work or you're with friends at a restaurant and you or someone else cracks a joke or uses a phrase very lightheartedly. Then you see someone's face and they say, well, you know, that's offensive, right? It's offensive. It's a hot button word these days. Is your knee-jerk reaction to just brush them off with a lighten up, we're only kidding explanation? Using the platinum rule means you push your opinions to the side in this scenario and you try to find out more. Rather than a snap reaction, consider learning more and connecting instead of disregarding. Realize we all have different struggles, backgrounds, blind spots. Consider this is something you may need to, however begrudgingly, be accepting to bring understanding with your own kids, your partner, your boss, people on the other side of the world or town. In conclusion, as Toastmasters, we are already in a position to learn from one another, listen, and grow together, and always leave space for change in ourselves and others. It's humbling to acknowledge the gaps in our own personal knowledge, that my ideas of best aren't the universal ideas of best. I like my coffee with cream and no sugar. It's the best for me. It's not the best for everyone, and I know it, and you know it. By applying the platinum rule, we can try to be open to gathering a variety of lenses through which to see and understand and navigate our world. Make it your business. Make it your business to help yourself and others navigate through the world. We owe it to ourselves as Toastmasters to learn from one another, to ask questions, to listen actively, and use that platinum rule, the golden rule of our future. Madam Contest Master.
Thank you. We'll now ask for 1 minute of silence for our judges.
Jen, we can't see the speaker full screen. When pressing speaker, we just see the room. Is everybody having that image?
Okay, we have reached our 1 minute of silence. Anne Marie, you should be able to use the pin video to pin the lectern view on your personal device. So if you hover over the 3 dots and pin, you should be able to do it that way.
Where are the 3 dots?
Over the video. So if you hover over the video in the corner of the right corner, you should be able to see the 3 dots and pin the video individually that way. But I would ask you to just personally chat me if you have any other questions.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Our third contestant, Larry Mckenzie. Stop sign, Larry Mckenzie.
I turned 16 years old back in the early days. I won't say what year, but I turned 16 and I was so excited because I was able to get my driver's permit. But my dad thought maybe it wasn't time. And I said, but Dad, I'm 16. He says, well, get the book. We'll get the book and you can look through it and you learn all of the different things that you have to do. Things were a little different back then than they are today. So I got the book and I started reading through it and I had to learn all of the different road signs. Yield. What did that mean? Stop sign. Well, I know what that meant. It meant stop. You don't go any further, you stop. Well, it took me a year. I was 17 when I finally got my learner's permit. Was able to drive. I was excited. But when I first went out with my dad, he wasn't that, I guess you would say, enthusiastic about it. Because when we got to the first corner, there was a stop sign. And I just pulled up to the stop sign and I just continued slowly around the corner. He said, stop. I said, why? What's the matter, Dad? He said, I can't do this. We'd only driven 7 houses to the corner. We turned around, went around the block, pulled back in the driveway. He said, good job, son. And that was the last time he took me out to learn how to drive. So I had to figure out, how am I going to do this? I asked my cousin, I asked a few other people. It took me, I was almost 18, I would say, by the time I got my driver's license. From that point on, I learned stop means stop signs. You got to obey the signs. Well, I finally got my driver's license and I'm on Niagara Falls Boulevard and I pull up to a red light. Red means stop, right? Green means go, yellow means slow it down. Same as we have in Toastmasters, red, green, yellow. Well, when I got towards that corner, there was 2 cars in front of me. I was turning right. Car in front of me turned. Next car turned. I said, oh, I can do this. I turned right. Next thing I know, I got pulled over. He said, you know why I pulled you over, young fella? I said, no. He said, you turned right on red. I said, well, you're allowed to turn right on red. He said, yes, but not when there's a sign there that says no right on red. I said, but there was 2 cars in front of me that turned ahead of me. He said, and you were the last car. That's why I got you. I said, well, thank you. He gave me a ticket. So now I had to go home and say, well, I have a ticket. I have to go to court. For what? I went through a red light. You went through a red light? Well, no, not really. So I had to explain what happened. Well, have any of you ever had those opportunities to have those mishaps? It continues through life because you're going to remember those moments. Years pass. I happen to be involved in a motor vehicle accident. Was it my fault? Possibly. Afterwards, I had all of these difficulties and I couldn't figure out where I was going in life. I decided to go out to Utah to this health and wellness camp. It was more of a, I guess you would say like a rehab / wellness camp. While I was there, I happened to meet some wonderful people. I met a gentleman who was a winner on The Biggest Loser. Great person. Matt Hoover was his name. I hiked with him many, many days. I must say that he hiked ahead of me, but I was on the same hike with him. So I guess I get guilty by association with that. Well, the hike that they first taught us that we had to learn how to do was called the stop sign. Well, why is it called the stop sign? I'm having flashbacks from when I was 16. Well, the stop sign is in Snow Canyon, which is in Ivins, Utah. Snow Canyon is a beautiful, beautiful red mountain canyon. But here's the thing. At the bottom of the canyon is where you begin the hike. Where you end up is at the top. So you have, it goes up an elevation of 4,100 feet by the time you get to the very top. So what's at the very top of the canyon? A stop sign. That is your goal, to make it from the bottom to the top through the trail. Now there's a road that goes, but we take basically the trail. When you get to the very top of the hill or the mountain or whatever you want to call it, that stop sign is the ultimate goal. I was always taught that that's a bad thing. Not bad, but you have to stop. Well, I learned a lot of things because it took me, I would say, 15, 16, 17 times trying to even make it to the top. Couldn't do it because of the elevation and everything else. But you have to persevere. So one of the things that I learned was when you get to the top, which I finally did, not during that visit, not during the next visit that I was there. I had already spent 3 weeks total there and I'd never made it to the top. I went home with that mindset saying, there's something wrong. There's got to be more. I went back. My goal was to make it to the top. I made it to the top. And as I was making it to the very top of that canyon, I saw the stop sign. And you have people up there that are cheering you. So you're trying to make it and your legs feel like rubber. And you make it to the stop sign. You get your picture taken with the stop sign. It's the ultimate goal. That wasn't enough. I said, I can do better. So I continued doing the stop sign. I kept making it to the top. My goal then was to make it to the top and then make it to the bottom in the allotted time. We had about an hour and 45 to 2 hours to make it to the top, and then the bus would pick you up there. That wasn't good enough. I wanted to try and make it to the bottom. I have to tell you, it took a long time, but I did. I finally did it. And I made it all the way to the top, turned around, and I made it down. Going down is much easier, but it's a lot harder when your legs feel like rubber. What I did was I learned 2 things. One, don't ever stop. Even though it says stop. Stop, S-T-O-P. See the opportunities and prosper. Madam Contest Master.
Thank you. I will now ask for 2 minutes of silence from our timer for our judges to complete their ballots. Mr. Timer, does that mean we've reached 2 minutes? Okay, excellent. Thank you. And our chief judge in the room, can you let us know if all ballots have been, or when all ballots have been collected? It looks like they are still in the process of collecting them. Are we still collecting ballots in the room? I can't tell.
collected. If the chief timer could text me the everybody time, that'd be helpful.
I am having a difficult time hearing you, but hopefully that means we're all set.
I will repeat again. Madam Contest Master, all the ballots have been collected online and in person. And if the chief timer could text me if everybody made the time parameters, that would be helpful. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chief Judge. So we'll give our counters some time to count the ballots. And Mr. Timer, I'll ask you to turn off your red light at this point. Typically, we would do contestant interviews during this time frame. However, since all of our contestants will also be competing in our next contest, I've decided we're going to do something a little bit different. So I'm going to start by asking Mark Campos. Yes, Mark Campos, what did you do with your snow day this week?
What did I do with my snow day? Well, thank you, Madam Contest Master, for this wonderful opportunity. I greatly appreciate it. So my snow day was, of course, Martin Luther King Day. It was a holiday, but I was covering for my boss, which means we were in emergency storm mode. So I had to give all sorts of reports on the status of our network in upstate New York and New England, which was a whole lot of fun. And then my day improved greatly when I got to go outside and clear roughly 2 feet of snow in my driveway. And that was my snow day, Madam Contest Master.
Thank you, Mr. Campos. Now, of course, it wouldn't be a Toastmasters meeting without Dave Licata getting to speak. So Dave, if you're in the room, why don't you come on up and share with us what you did with your snow day?
Madam Contest Master, would you like the lights when David starts to speak?
That would be excellent, yes.
Hardy har har, Alice. Well, I have often privately and publicly complained that my wife and I are running a halfway house for middle-aged men that haven't launched. But the snow day was, I had to change my tune a little bit because I didn't touch a shovel. I didn't go, I went outside to get the mail, and that was it. And all of a sudden I was transported back to the beginning of the pandemic where my life consisted of moving from the living room on the west end of the house to the family room on the east end of the house. And unlike Archie Bunker only had one chair, I have two, both east and west. And I looked out the window and I said, as a youth, it was so long ago, it was the tail end of an ice age. And we had much more snow back then, honestly. I'm not kidding. And I looked out the window and I said, oh, this looks familiar. This looks like the days when we built igloos, dove into snowbanks, and got our toboggans over to the Lockport Town and Country Club to their chagrin, because they're always afraid. They put an ad in the paper every year thinking it won't get them sued, God love them. But it was a throwback day for me as well. Thank you so much, Madam Contest. Yeah, I'm looking at the screen. And I have a degree in broadcasting, so I'm doubly embarrassed. Thank you, Madam Contest Master.
Thank you, Mr. Licata. Anne Marie, how about you? What did you do with your snow day this week? And make sure you unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, good morning, Jen. Thanks for the opportunity. Of course, it was a shock, even though there were all the forecasts of gloom and doom with 12 to 14 inches. I got up and got into my email and it said Canisius College is closed for any anyone entering campus, and classes were canceled. So I was kind of shocked because I had a 4-hour class in the evening and it was on Zoom, and I wasn't sure whether the class should be held or could be held or not. So after a number of emails, I decided to hold the class regardless of the campus being closed, so we wouldn't be behind. So we did hold the class, and luckily all the students showed up. What ritual I have in the mornings is to go out on my front porch, and I have a rocker there. No matter how cold it is, I usually sit there and read the papers, and I'm dressed, of course, in layers with a heavy coat and a hat and a blanket. But I really enjoy just looking at the outdoor scenery and getting to take some nice deep breaths of the crisp air. But I opened my door and could barely open it, and the snow on my porch had to be 3 or 4 feet, and my rocker was covered, and my cushions were wet. So that was kind of a disappointment for me. I just closed the door, and then I began to go out in the driveway and shovel snow because our snowplow didn't show up. So it was an eventful day, different and interesting, and quite cold. And I was glad that I had a nice warm house and a fireplace to sit by and just sort of reflect on how nice it is to have a home. So thank you for this opportunity, Jen. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Anne Marie. In person, I believe we have Krista Glopperbanks. How about you share with us your snow day experiences? I hear some laughs in the room, so maybe you've already been sharing.
No, I haven't shared anything yet today. I figured my time was coming. I am very good at binge watching, and I love Marvel, and I finally found Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's been out there for quite a while. I've seen all the Marvel movies. I've seen a lot of the TV series. I hadn't caught this one, but I found it on Monday. All of Monday, from the time that I got up to the time that I went to sleep. And then, oh my goodness, everything was continued to be closed on Tuesday because of all of the roads could not be cleared. So there was another closed day that day. So gave me another day to binge watch Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I think I've gotten through 2 seasons in 2 days, maybe, possibly. I know there's more. So that's probably what I'm going to be spending my afternoon doing. But that is how I spent my day after I took pictures of the scenes outside of all the snow that had arrived here in Western New York, because my family had moved to the Charlotte area actually many years ago. So on those kinds of days, I will take pictures and send it down to them. And I get the lovely response, well, I'm glad I'm not there anymore. And I said, well, yeah, we've got a snowblower to help us with the driveway. And my dad said, well, I'd rather run the lawnmower. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have received word that we are prepared to move on to the next contest at this point. I will first start by giving you the order of our table topics contestants. That order will be Kate Orr, Eric Schneider, and Larry Mckenzie. Our Sergeant at Arms will be sequestering our second 2 participants into a separate room for that contest. And I will also just remind everyone that the contest time is slightly different than our typical AM Lockport timing. I know we don't use the standard time in our club, so the contest time will be 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, and 2 minutes for the contest. I will ask our chief judge to let me know when our contestants have been sequestered so that we can begin the contest, and to let me know if there are any other items that we need to address. It should be all the same rules, so hopefully everyone is set.
Madam Contest Master, our contestants have been sequestered. We are ready to proceed. If you could close the door, that would be helpful. As Len comes out, yes, thank you. Okay, so we are sequestered. Thank you.
All right, so we are all set. Are there any questions in the room before we begin? All right, then I will ask our first contestant to proceed to the contest area, and I will again be reading her name, the question. I will then repeat the question and read her name again. So our first contestant, Kate Orr. How would you describe your future in 3 words? How would you describe your future in 3 words? Kate Orr.
Thank you, Madam Contest Master. My future, the opposite of the word of the day. I know we don't need to use it, but I can't see it from here. But the opposite of that meaning impoverished. I hope to be on the other end, and not financially, but connected. I hope to stay connected. That has meant a lot more the last 2 years than ever before. Those of you who've known me longer than the pandemic know I've always been rather connected and like to stay that way. And I will use any technology that I need to use or any other resources around me to stay that way. It's been a silver lining of the last 2 years, staying connected with the family and friends in Texas and Florida and overseas, something we never experienced before in the same way. At least like me, I'm not in the military. I don't work in a field that I needed those skills before. Stay connected. Community, so essential. Community, it's rather connected to that first word, but community matters. Small community, just a couple people, your household, your family, larger communities like Toastmasters family. And those of you who know me, my Celtic family and the family of my community in my town that I love, the larger community, the county. I love Niagara. I could stay here forever. I traveled around and left, came back. Connected, community, and enthusiasm. I'll never shake that. I love being enthusiastic, and I think that that is part of who I am. And Toastmasters has tempered that so that I can stay connected with my community and stay enthusiastic without going over the top. Thank you very much, Madam Contest Master.
Thank you. I will now ask for a minute of silence from our chief timer for our judges to begin marking their ballots. And I would ask our Sergeant at Arms to get our second contestant prepared. Thank you. Our next contestant, Eric Schneider. How would you describe your future in 3 words? How would you describe your future in 3 words? Eric Schneider.
Thank you very much. My future in 3 words: scary, delightful, and challenging. Let's start with scary. Yes, my future can be a bit scary because you never know if you're gonna have a job or something happens at school and I have to go a different path. Delightful? Yeah, because you have to have positivity of what the outcome is going to be. Some can be good, some can be bad. But delightful, you have to take it with a grain of salt. And also challenging, yes, because every life is challenging at times. When I think of my job at Canisius, it can be challenging because you have to clean up messes from everybody else that left behind. So I think that my future is looking bright, but I will use those 3 objectives along the way. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now ask for a minute of silence from our timing master, and I will ask our Sergeant at Arms to prepare our 3rd speaker. Thank you, Mr. Timing Master. Our 3rd speaker, Larry Mckenzie. How would you describe your future in 3 words? How would you describe your future in 3 words? Larry Mckenzie.
Optimistic, hopeful, and the 3rd we'll work on. How would I describe my future in 3 words? I'm optimistic because over the years, I've learned a lot of different things. Some I've forgotten because of that age thing. So looking forward into my life with those 3 words, it's very difficult to put all of your life into 3 words in your future because nobody knows what tomorrow is going to be. We only know what today is. And today, I think that 3rd word would be present, because in order to look towards your future, you have to be confident in what you're doing today and make sure that you do all of the things that you want within this 24-hour period or within this next hour, within this next day, 2 days, because of the fact that our tomorrows are unknown. So the 3 words, I'm optimistic because I'm not quite sure about tomorrow. And that 3rd word, we'll just wait for, because someday it'll come to me. Madam Tabletop Master.
Thank you. I will now ask for 2 minutes of silence and our chief timer to indicate when that has elapsed for our judges to complete their ballots. Thank you, Mr. Timing Master. I will ask our chief judge to indicate when all of the judges' ballots have been completed.
Madam Contest Master, the counters are tallying, so we are ready for possible interviews if you're ready.
Yes, thank you very much. Now, in our two contests, we had Eric and Kate both get to go first. So Larry, I think it's your turn to go first for contestant interviews. I'd like to call you up to the stage and wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you. 29 and holding.
Now, while you're up here, I hear that you like listening to audiobooks. So why don't you tell us what your favorite audiobook is, or maybe just your favorite one that you've listened to recently?
Great question. My favorite audiobook. I listen to a lot of different audiobooks. One that I'm listening to right now is in regards to meditation. I find that over the years, meditation has helped me greatly with dealing with, as an alternative to taking medication for chronic pain. And so therefore I listen to a lot of different books that will help me with that, learning how to relax, how to bring myself and center myself within so that I can deal with and let go of the things that are bothering me. Titles, the old age thing with the birthday today, can't remember the titles, but there are quite a few on my podcast and my audiobooks. I'll bring the titles next week.
All right, so we'll be on the lookout for your book list.
I have a top 10.
Sorry, go ahead.
I have a top 10.
A top 10. All right, Larry's top 10. Maybe that can be your next theme as Toastmaster. I also saw your favorite quote on your contestant profile is, "You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending." So tell us a little bit about what that means for you.
What it means to me, and I think it refers back a little bit to my speech that I gave also, with the fact that all of the things that have happened throughout our lives, we learn from, and we take all of that knowledge, and what we do with it is what our future happens, because of the fact that if we don't learn from things that we've done that perhaps we did incorrectly, those are teaching moments. Those are moments when we say, well, we may not have done it right, but then again, look back at some of the people from years and years ago. How many times did it take before they actually got a light bulb that actually worked? just because you failed does not mean that you've not succeeded. So therefore, the things that have happened in the past and my, I guess you would say, future depends on what I've learned from what I take from that and move forward.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing. I am going to ask our next contestant to come up and interview them. So Kate, I'm going to pick you as our second contestant. I realized I didn't have an order for the interviews, but you got to be in the middle for the last contest and you get to be in the middle this time as well. Kate, one of the mentions on your profile is that you enjoy cooking as an interest. So tell me a little bit about your favorite thing to cook, or maybe the last thing that you cooked.
Thank you, Madam Contest Master. This week has been a week of cooking in our home. We have 3 Dutch ovens now and 5 crock pots because we host a lot of parties, etc. And so we use those quite a lot. We made chili, we had apple pie baking last night. And I think I'm going to switch back to the question you asked about the snow day from the rest of the folks, because it ties to why we were cooking so much and in the home so many hours. For those of you out of the area, this was kind of a crazy storm in a lot of ways. There was record-setting snowfall last week or the week before already in Buffalo, and there's nowhere to put it because it hasn't all melted. And then I appreciate what David said earlier about there being so much snow. I remember that a lot when I was younger too, except that it didn't usually all fall in one day. And so what happened on Monday was unprecedented. I live right on Lake Ontario. Jen was talking, Madam Contest Master, earlier about Lockport being near Lake Ontario. Well, there's another 15 miles north of Lockport, and I live on Lake Ontario. I can see Lake Ontario from my house. And usually our snowstorms come across Lake Erie, and we get whomped on by lake effect snow. This time, the winds changed. And first, the lake effect came from the northeast across Lake Ontario, my neck of the woods. I used to go to college up in the Adirondacks, and we got that snow this time. And then the winds switched by Monday afternoon. That was on Monday morning, early hours of Monday. Monday afternoon, the wind switched and the snow started coming from across Lake Erie. So it was a double whammy, and I hear Lockport was one of the hardest to get hit, and Grand Island. So we stayed indoors and cooked a lot. Come on over and enjoy a good home cooked meal once you can get out. It all started melting yesterday because it was in the 40s, and now it's back up to the double digits again. And it was extremely icy this morning. So that's my long answer about cooking and snow. We had time.
All right. And you also shared with us that your favorite quote is, "Do what you feel in your heart to be right. You'll be criticized anyway." So what does that mean to you?
I love Eleanor Roosevelt, and many of you have heard speeches about her that I have given in the past. And that is one of her many quotes that guided her as a compass. And I feel the same way. I'll do what's in my heart because we're going to get criticized in every direction. Everybody's criticized. You did this too much. You did this too little. You talk too fast. You talk too slow. I guess that doesn't happen with me too often, but you're always criticized. And so you should do what's in your heart. Now that might change over time. Be open, keep your heart open to learn from one another and listen. But as you've heard me harp on a lot in the last few months about listening to each other, but I think that that's a critical piece. Follow your heart. And she's one of the ones I'd love to meet if, you're told, who in history would you love to meet? It's always a battle between Mark Twain and Eleanor Roosevelt if I had to pick one, and they all had excellent quotes to live by. So thank you, Madam Contest Master.
All right. Thank you, Kate. And I will ask our final participant today, Eric Schneider, to come to the lectern for his interview. So Eric, one of your interests and hobbies that you mark is doing chalk art, which I know is a recent hobby of yours. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it started about last February. I got into like doing art. One of our former members, Jess Tamino, she has their art studio in Newfane, and I'm like very eager to try out new things. And due with the pandemic, like to me, it's as a stress reliever and see what I can do with chalk art, which by the way, I did my first ever Chalk Fest in Olcott last August, and I actually did pretty good for a first timer. I actually did a chalk art of a scene from the James Bond movie, and I was really impressed because I have never done any chalk drawing. The only thing I can draw is, you know, those stick figure drawings, but other than that, but yeah, this was been, I still go to the studio and I actually do one-on-ones with Jess, and I learned so many new things and looking forward to continuing what she has in store this year.
All right, thank you, Eric. And you also shared your favorite quote with us. There is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about what that means to you? That was Amanda Gorman quote.
Yeah, I listened to her wonderful poetry reading last year when she was at the inauguration for President Biden. And that stuck out to me because we are brave enough to overcome what we can. And like I said, with this pandemic, we've been so brave and so helpful to other people to come together. And, you know, this has been a scary time for all of us, and we need to still stick together, be brave enough to do it. And we are all in this together, and we have to be so positive, so generosity of all of us and ourselves.
All right, well, thank you very much. I believe we are ready to move forward. I've received the results and I am ready to announce our winners. So we'll start with our table topics winners. And I will remind everyone that the area contest will be this Saturday. Actually, I'm not sure if it's this Saturday. Saturday the 29th at 9 a.m. and it's going to be via Zoom. So any of the contestant winners will be appearing there. So our table topics winners, I will announce first our second place winner, Kate Orr. Kate Orr is our second place winner. So Kate, if you want to come up to the lectern and pretend I'm presenting you with a certificate, but I will certainly send that over to you via email later today. And I'm hoping she's coming up for our pretend handoff of certificate. Here it is. Here it is. And our first place winner for table topics is, thank you, Thomas, appreciate it. Our first place winner is Eric Schneider. Eric Schneider, congratulations. All right, someone should probably take a picture for social media. Excellent, thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
We're 6 feet apart. Move away. Oh, the banner, yeah. Look at the banner. Look at you, Pierre. Hello.
All right, get the right angle.
You're the winner.
Oh, yeah.
Is that good? Well, you're the winner. Just go ahead.
Okay, get in there.
Okay. We're good? One more. Which one?
All right, thank you to our contestants. And for our international contest, our second place winner is Kate Orr. Don't sit down. All right, thank you, Kate. And our first place winner is Larry Mckenzie. More pictures for social media, of course.
We're good? I guess. I want my skinny shirt.
All right. And next, I'm going to call up our roll holders today. We did have a word master. Sylvia, how did Dequestitude do today?
Did everybody say destitute?
Destitute.
It
Okay.
is wonderful. Thank you.
Everybody used it. All right, excellent. And Mike Licata, you were our master today, and this may be helpful to our speakers, especially to hear how they did for their ums and ahs.
Thank you, Madam Contest Chair. I will try to be brief. Eric had more than 4 ands, 1 now, 2 so's, a like, an extra like. Kate had a do and make to restart, 1 1 so, 1 and 1 like. Larry used well twice and 1 so. And then the second time around, I caught Eric with 3 buts. So that is my report this morning.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Tom Heldwine, you are our president today, so I will call you up and ask if there are any other announcements in the room or anything that anyone has to share before we close out the meeting today.
Yes. Thank you very much, Madam Contest Master. This morning, we got to have a great contest, which was orchestrated with almost zero effort on my part. I wish I could have done more. I was asked to compete, I couldn't. I was asked to do this, I couldn't, but I was able to help with the timing like this morning. So at least thank you for including me in that small piece of today's meeting. I will do more next time, I promise. I like to do that. I like to promise next time. That's what got me into this role. Dave, did you give any money for the?
No, Dave's broke.
Would you like to select the winning ticket then?
Yeah, but I want to talk about my team. Well,
Your
I'll do
what?
the ticket first.
Oh, yeah, the first quarter is on the website for anyone who didn't see. Take a look. Schedule's up.
Oh, next week?
Here's our lucky winner, Mr. President. The last 3 digits, a 1, a 7, and a 3. 173. One. Did you win?
No.
Oh, see?
I had a 50-50 chance of winning, but apparently.
Just a brief word about my theme. If my Buffalo Bills are triumphant this weekend.
When your Buffalo Bills? When? Yes. By 3.5 points.
Thank you, because I am past president of the Lockport Sunrise Optimist Club. I most assuredly should have said when. I'm so happy to be sorted out here. But after, 25 years ago, I've learned to curb my enthusiasm. I'm taking these one game at a time. And Saturday night was one of the top 3 wonderful moments I've had in the Ralph, the New Era Highmark Stadium. It was wonderful. All these demons were sent packing. Go Bills.
So your team is the Bills team?
No, I don't know. Whether or not they win.
So if they win, the Bills will be the theme. When they lose, if they ever lose, because they're not going to.
Hell freezes over comment from Larry last week. I'm gonna go with that. Yeah, kind of like hell right now. It's kind of frozen over, so this is the time. This is our chance.
I was thinking if they lose, we might need to find a new Toastmaster.
All right, don't forget to put your tickets in the second-hand draw. We will be bringing something up for a vote next month. Two things, actually. We're gonna be discussing a couple things. We had an officer meeting last night. We discussed that after the February officer meeting, we'll be voting on whether or not we want to select this as our long-term location for our hybrid meetings for the in-person portion. The other portion will still stay on Zoom. Either way. The other decision was for dues next year with a hybrid meeting. There is a little higher technology requirement. So that is something. But if you know someone who wants to, sponsor the club, let us know, because we'll definitely take that. With that, I don't have any other announcements other than see everyone next week. Thank you very much for being here.
Cynthia, Ron, Larry, what can we do to help things up? What needs to be taken away?
My